In this video, I'm going to show you how we can containerize a Node.js API. It would be great if you have some basic understanding on what a container is and what an image is. Basically, some basic understanding would be enough. The application we are going to build, I'm going to build everything from scratch. So the idea is we are going to create a Node.js API, and then we'll create a Docker file, and we will create an image out of the Docker file. Then we will run a container from the image which we are creating. That's a whole plan. And during the development process, deliberately I'll make a few mistakes. That's absolutely intentional. The reason, because when you containerize it, you might end up with the same errors. But I'm taking that error first, or making mistakes first, then we'll correct it. Okay. And that is it. And too much of theory. Let's jump straight into the code and let us start building. Okay, and during the building process, I'll explain step by step, or we'll make error, and I'll explain why the error happened and how we can fix those errors. Okay, and finally we will have a running container with a sample Node.js API. That's a plan. Okay, you can see I have opened Visual Studio here, nothing there. First thing first, we need to have the dependencies in a package .json file. If you are familiar with Node.js, then yeah, that's how it should be. So we are going to create a file called package.json. Okay, here we need to have Express because we are going to run server on Express. So the first dependencies we have here is Express. Okay, so Express, and it doesn't matter which version, we can take any version of Express. Because of that, I'm going to give it star. It means any version of Express is fine. And when running this application, I need to run a specific Node.js file. So the script which I need to run when the application start is let's name it as index.js. So the command would be node index.js. It basically means when I start the application, I need to run this command. It should run node and then find index.js, and whatever inside index.js, that should run. Okay, and the package.json is ready, but we don't have a index.js file. So let us add that next. And I'm adding a new file here. The name is index.js. Okay, and we need Express here. So I'm adding getting Express. Okay, and let me add the variable name is app. Then okay, now we have Express here, and I'm going to create a very basic API. Okay, get API, and the path I can give it as a root path, and whenever somebody call a root in a browser, I should maybe return something back, say a sample message. Probably I'll return back hi from Docker, maybe. Yeah, hi from Docker. Okay, so when somebody run this API, they will get this message back. Now the API is ready, and we need to start the server. Okay, so I'm going to listen it to port 8080. You can give it on your choice. And when server running properly, let me output something to see that, to understand that server is running. Okay, maybe I'm Docker server. and I started listening. This has nothing to do with the API, but this is just an indication when I run the server. And I started listening on port 8080, just to make it clear. Okay, now the API is ready. If you know Node.js, then first thing we need to do is, if I get this application, then first thing I need to do is run all the dependencies, and we have a dependency to Express, so we have to install those that dependency. Okay, that's the first thing to do, and remember those steps, because this is exactly what we are going to replicate when we create a container. Okay, so remember those steps. And now if I open localhost 8080, nothing will happen. Let me show that. See, localhost 8080, nothing there. Okay, because we will not host anything, so that's the reason we don't have anything there. Okay, and now let us install the dependencies and host this application. Okay, let us do that next. So let us install all the dependencies. That's npm I or npm install. That will get the node modules for Express. It takes few seconds to install all that, and after installing this one, we will start the server, and the startup command for that is node index.js, and when we run that, it will start the server, and we should be able to see the message which we have given here. I'm Docker server, and I started listening to port 8080. Okay, we can see this. The server has been started listening to port 80, and when we go and look at localhost 8080, we should be able to see this message, hi from Docker. Let us go and see that. And when I refresh this, we can see this message. Okay, this is what we have expected, and we can see that. Now, everything is working fine locally. Okay, now we need to containerize this. Instead of hosting this into our local machine, we are going to create a container, and we are going to run this application in the container. Let us do that now. Before before creating container, we need to have an image. So image container is basically the running instance of an image. Okay, to create an image, we need a Docker file, because Docker file has a set of instructions, and it follows that instructions, and will create an image out of that instruction. Okay, in the instruction, we'll pack up the application which we have built, and that instruction will create an image which will have everything we need to run that application inside a container. Okay, maybe that's not really very clear to you, but let us do that, and then you'll get more clarity on what I mean. To create an image, first thing we need is a Docker file. So Docker file is a file without extension, and the name should be dockerfile. So dockerfile. So you can see when I add Dockerfile, there is a little icon of Docker here. The reason, because I've added an extension of Docker. You can, if you want, you can install that. Let me show which extension I have installed. That is Docker, this extension from Microsoft. You can install the same if you want. Okay, let me go here. So all Docker file should start with a base image. If you don't know what a base image is, let me explain it with an example. What if I ask you to create a Node application? What would be the first thing you do? Of course, you will install Node.js in your machine. That's the first thing you do, because Node.js has everything you need. It has npm and all of the thing you need to create a Node application. So installing Node.js is the first thing you do, isn't it? When we come to container has nothing. It's just a running instance of image. So if you need to run a Node application inside a container, of course it need a Node.js or Node.js to be installed there. Okay. So image is nothing but a packaged instance. I'm simplifying it with this explanation. It's a packaged instance of something. In our case, that's a packaged instance of Node. Okay, it will have npm installed or whatever we need to run a Node.js application. So we can find those images, those base images in a repository called Docker Hub. Okay, Docker Hub is a centralized repository of all Docker images. So we can get that base image from Docker Hub. That's what we are going to do. Okay, and when we get that base image will have everything we need. Okay, in our case we need npm. Okay, and okay, that's the reason we are going to get base image of Node. I hope that's clear to you. Still, if it is not clear to you, you'll understand on the way. When we build the application, you will get more clear picture on what I mean. Okay, so let us go to Docker Hub and get that image. So we are in Docker Hub. The URL is hub.docker.com. So here we can search for Node, and you can see here this is the official image of Node. Let us go, and here we can see many versions of Node or many tags of Node. The one I'm looking for is a Node Alpine. So Alpine is the slimmed version of Node. It is not, it's absolutely light version of Node. Okay, because we don't need a big package here or a big image of Node here. We need something really basic. Okay, because we are just going to run an API. So you can see here Node version Alpine. Okay, if I'm not going to mention the version, then it'll take the latest. Okay, so the specific one I'm looking at here is, let us go back here. That is Node Alpine. So the first thing is, let me comment it here, get the base image. That's the first step we are going to do. Okay, and the command is from and the base image name. So in our case, the base image is Node and the tag is Alpine. That's a slimmed version or light version. Okay, so this instruction will go and get Node Alpine image, because in the next step we are going to install the packages or all the dependencies. In our case, that is Express. Okay, so here the command is run and npm install. That's what we did in our local machine, isn't it? Because we need to run install. And after that, when the application starts up, we need to run index.js. So for that, we have to give a command here. Okay, inside the command, we have to mention what we need to run. So the command is, we need to run Node and we need to run the start. Start basically means it will go and look what is inside start, that is index.js. Okay, so that is here. You can give npm as well there, both works. So the image is ready. Okay, let us run this, and as I told, I have made an error intentionally here because this is not going to work. I will tell why. Let me stop this, clear it, and the command to create an image from this Docker file is docker build dot. This works, but when it create an image, that image will have a random name. But we have to, it'll be better to give a image name which we can understand. Because of that, I'm going to tag this. Okay, and we can give a name to this image. The standard to give an image which we are building is, when we sign up to Docker, we'll have a Docker ID. In my case, a Docker ID is code with Vijay. That's my Docker ID. I got this one because I have signed up with Docker, and I got this ID. That's my Docker ID. So the standard is Docker ID. So in our case, code with Vijay / then the image name. Okay, in our case, we probably can give node docker image. That's the image name. Then dot. This means the context of the Docker file. So when we run this, we are expecting to get the base image. Then we are expecting to install the dependency from package.json, which is on our local machine. Then then the command. This command is when we start the container from the image, it will run this command. Okay, we'll come to that later. So enter it, and okay, it got the image. It was trying to install package. Then we got an error. When we go there, we can see that no such file or directory open package.json. Okay, the reason, because when it runs, it will first pull image from, or the node image from Docker Hub. You can see that here in the first step, from node Alpine, it is getting the image. That let me expand it a bit. Okay, it got node Alpine. Then it created, we can see something here. Okay, an ID. What basically do is, it will pull the image, and whatever there in node image, it will create a snapshot of that in somewhere in our hard disk. Okay, to make it really simple, somewhere in our hard disk. Okay, then it will have all those files from node Alpine. Then it will try to install package. Okay, before running this, because this command will run inside a temporary container created, because after this step it will create a temporary container and it will run this step. But the temporary container, the container it doesn't have a file called package.json. That's the reason it couldn't install it couldn't run this command, because container couldn't find package.json. So what we need to do is, we need to install package.json in the temporary container. Temporary container is just in every step it will create a temporary container to run those instructions. So what we need to do is, we need to add package.json here. Before running npm install, we need to copy package.json from a local machine to the temporary container. The command to do is copy the source and destination, as we are in the root folder, from our root to container root. And which file we need? We need package.json. Okay, now it will copy package.json from our local machine to the temporary container, and it will install. Fine, let us see. Let me clear it and let me save it. Okay, and run again. Okay, this time it should be able to find package.json, and it should run the npm install. Let us see how it is doing. Okay, now I know there's a delay. It is trying to install. Now you can see there are a few warnings, but that's fine. That's just warning on we don't have a description or license field or one other field. You can ignore that. But we can see it has install all the packages, we don't get the package.json error which we have seen before. Now the next thing is to, now here you can see, it has created an image, so we can run a container out of it. And when running the container, it should start up this, because here in in the package we have mentioned when start the application, it it should start index.js. There we have the server, basically this one, express an API, and it will start listening to port 8080. Okay, so that's the startup instruction. And here we have node. Because of that, one thing here is here there should be npm. Okay, not node, that's a command. Okay, let us create a container from this image. So the command to do that is, let me clear screen first. The command to do that is docker run that image. Now we are expecting to see, or expecting the server should start, and it should listen to port 8080. That's what we were expecting, but again we have a problem here. Before that, let me run this. Okay, so we got some error. It cannot find something. The reason, because we have asked when starting this one, it should run index.js, but in the docker file we did not copy that file. We only copied package.json, so the image doesn't have that. Okay, so the next step to do is we have to copy index.js as well. Again the same step, copy source and destination. At this time I'm copying everything from our local machine to the root folder of the container. Okay, let us try to build image again. Okay, now it has created an image. Let me clear first, then docker run that image. Now you can see it has started the application and it is listening to port 8080. Cool. When we go and run this application again, we should be able to see the same message again, isn't it? But there is a problem again. Before that, let me refresh the page. It is loading up and there is nothing. Okay, the reason, because the application has hosted to the port 8080 of the container, not in our local machine. Because of that, our local machine couldn't find anything in port 8080. So what we have to do is we have to map our local port to the port of the container, which is listening, basically 8080 in our case. Okay, that's called port mapping in Docker. That's the next step we need to do, else our local machine couldn't find anything. That's the reason nothing has been loaded. Okay, so let us do the port mapping now. The command for port mapping is pretty straightforward. That is docker run, then -p, the port of our local machine which we need to run our application. It can be any port which is not reserved. It can be 4000, 5000. Let me give it maybe say 3000, and that should map to 8080 of the container which we are running now. The reason 8080 here, because we have hosted our application in the container to port 8080, basically this one. That's the reason 8080. If this is 7000, then we have to map our local port to 7000. Okay, we have mapped the port. Then we need the container ID, sorry, the image ID. Okay, there is a connectivity failure. We need to find why. Oh, the port is already allocated. Okay, let us try a different port. I think sometime before, maybe I might have used 3000. That's the reason. Let us clear it and let us give a different port here, maybe 2000. Okay, try again. Now we can see the application or the container has started. And now if we listen to localhost 2000, it will go and get or it will go and get the API which is running in the container on port 8080 in the container. Let's go and do that here. Localhost, the port is 2000. Okay, we can see hi from Docker. Everything is fine, but I need to do some cleanup here. The application works, everything is fine. It should work absolutely fine without any problem. But we need to do some improvement here. I will tell why, the reason behind that. Okay, let me show you. Let me open a new terminal here. I want to show you the folder structure of the container which we are running now. Okay, we can run a command to go and see the folder structure. Okay, that is docker execute, and we need an interactive terminal, that is input to the terminal. Basically that will show the message or input and output. Let us just assume like that for now. That's it. Then we have to give the container ID. Okay, the container ID is let me go to the command prompt and get the container, because we don't know the container ID. Or let us do one thing here. Let us find the container ID first. Docker ps will list all the running containers. So in our case, this is the container. You can see here 2000 is listening to port 8080, and this is the container ID. And let us go inside that container, docker exec minus it, the container ID, then sh. It will open a shell for us. Here we can list all the file system of the container which we are running. So you can see here, okay, all these folders, bin dev home, all these comes with the base image of Node Alpine. And you can see here index.js, package.json and the log.json. That is our files. Okay, this looks not good, isn't it? The reason, because they assume that we in our application we had a folder called media or home or lib. What happens is when we create this container, it will overwrite these folders. Okay, that's not good. So we need to keep all our files to a separate location inside the container. Here in the Docker file, we have mentioned to copy everything to the root. That's the reason it has copied everything to the root, and as I told, that might end up with problems. Okay, you can find node modules as well here, that this fault created when we run the container, or when we run the image. We had something called run npm install. That's how it has created node modules. Okay, so let us solve this problem, and let me show you how we can do that. Probably we can keep our application inside user, and we can create a folder, maybe src. Okay, but we have to mention that in those steps inside the Docker file. So here there is something called working directory, that is work dir. What that will do is that directory will set as the working directory of the container. In our case, we need that to be user and src. Okay, and this is the working directory, when we mention to copy everything, it will copy everything to this location, not to the root. Okay, that's the only thing we need to do. Let us save this and go back to the previous terminal. Let me stop this. Okay, clear it, and let us create an image again. Okay, it is running and it has created an image for us. Okay, and let us build a container out of that image once again. So the command is docker run, and we can tag it again, the container ID or the docker ID, and we can give another name, maybe final image, and dot. Oh, sorry, that's not the one. We just need to run, because we have already created the image. We just need to run that. Okay, docker run, and we need to do the port mapping. This time we can give a different port, 4000 maybe, and 8080, and the container ID, sorry, the image ID. Okay, again it started listening to port 8080, and if you go to localhost 4000, now we should be able to see the same message again. Fine, everything looks fine. Let us go back to the terminal again, the other terminal. Let us come out of this. Let me clear it. This time we before that we need to find the container ID, docker ps, and the one we have created is 4000, that is this container. Let me copy that, and we need this here, and if we run this now, we can see that it has pointed to user src, and when we list it here, we can see everything inside this location. There we can see index.js, then the node modules, package.json. Now it's pretty clean. We did not copy everything to the root, and it will not overwrite any of the base image file system or anything. That is pretty safe now. That's pretty much, guys, and I hope now everything is clear to you. If you like the video, please don't forget to subscribe the channel, and please don't click the notification button, then you'll get a notification whenever I upload new video. I hope you really enjoyed it, and thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for watching this.